This video is going to be about how I made the taillights. These were 3D printed, and all the lenses were 3D printed, and I've now put this together. And you'll notice there's a gap around here. That's where the lens is actually going to go. It's taken me a long time to do this. I had to figure out a lot of things, and I've had other things going on in my life that kind of stopped this. Plus, it's been hotter than hell in Texas. So anyway, I'm going to go through the tools I used, the different pieces that I used. I put this all together so you can see how this 3D printed tail light is actually a very good option versus having to buy OEM lights, which are extremely expensive. So let's get into the tools that I used, how I put this thing together. I've only got one of them done right now, but I've learned on it, so the next one should go a lot quicker. If you're interested in these lights, these were created by Nick Mercula. I'll put his contact information in the description below. And one other thing I want to mention, what I'm including in this video is how I did it. This does not mean by any means this is the only way to do it, or even the best way to do it. So please take this with a grain of salt. If you have better ideas, then go for it. But like I said, this is how I did it, and I'm just trying to show you how I put it together and how it works. Okay, these are the different components and tools that I've used in assembling the taillights. I finally bought me a decent welder that has variable speeds. You can set the temperatures. Has a little reel for your solder. Of course, a glue gun. Different types of shrink wrap or heat shrink. Then this is the LED lights. Of course, X-Acto knife, stripper, crimpers, wire strippers. Some little leads that you can use for testing, some wire. Then those are the 3mm by 12 millimeter screws for fastening things in. Has some diodes, some 100 ohm resistors. That is the control unit for making these sequential lights blink. Tons of LED lights and a little holder. So those are just some of the things that I'm using to assemble the taillights. These are some more tools. Have a plastic welder with all, extra staples for putting things together. I have a waterproof kit with anywhere from 6 down to 1 connectors with all the pins, those. And I also have some pre-made wireless or waterproof connectors for things like just need 2 wires and they're already pre-made. Got a new plastic welder that has these cute little bonding strips, whatever you want to call them, and a heat gun. And I've been practicing and I've been doing it wrong. So if I do this, just pull the trigger till it melts in there, let up and let it cool. Off. And then you get a nice bonded piece. Okay, because I'm going to be mounting my lights to the back of this panel that's screwed on, I need to make it a solid piece. So I screwed everything in place and then went through and used my hot glue, not my hot glue, my plastic welder to join these pieces together. I just have to trim off the little tabs and then I'll have a solid piece. And these are the individual pieces for the 3D printed light. You have a reflector, the backup light. These are the tail lights, turn signals, and these are normally just reflectors, but I've actually wired those to be brake lights. And this is the back plate that I've made one piece that covers all of the turn signals, brake lights, tail lights, and then this is the cover that goes over the backup lights. Okay, I started by putting on all the back plates on the light. Then on the inside, I used a scribe to go through and mark all the openings on the back plate so I can figure out where to position my lights. Okay, what I'm doing is on the inner brake lights, I'm actually putting in some aluminum tape in here to give me more reflection rather than here. I haven't put it on this side yet. I have here, so that will allow the lights to be a little brighter. Wiring. I've included here a schematic of all of the wires that go to the taillight sections, the backup lights, the turn signals, the taillights, the brake lights, and as I showed in the previous video, I'm actually using one set of lights for both the brake light and the taillights. The taillights use a 100 ohm resistor and a diode, and a diode is basically like an electric check valve. It means electricity will only flow one way. So with a 100 ohm resistor in there, that gives you still a bright light, but then when you touch the brake light, you bypass that 100 ohm resistor with another diode, and that brightens the light. So you have one light that can function both as a brake light and a tail light. So again, the schematic here shows you all the wiring that was done to make that work. Got the initial wiring done for the tail lights. I was initially going to use these to go in here and down here and up here, but they just wouldn't fit. So what I ended up doing was taking all the LEDs, putting them on a mount, and then those will actually work when I get it all put together. So, long time getting this done, but hopefully I'm making progress. Okay, this is the back side of the light, how it's put in here. There's a top clip that holds it in, and two bolts hold it in the bottom, and that's on a weld, and that's to a bar that's been welded in and glassed into the side of the body. So it's easy to remove it by just disconnecting this up here. I can take that apart and just lift it straight out. I know it's not pretty right now, but at least it works, and cleanup will come later. Okay, let's talk about the wing. The wing has been the bane of my existence. Originally I wanted to have it work just like the original OEM, and that has involved a lot of work. Initially I had all this filled in with metal to keep the shape. It got too heavy, it burned out the little motor. I've replaced the motor with an actuator. Okay, had to redo the wing. The little motor burned out. It's just getting too freaking heavy. So this is what I've come up with, using a actuator and some heim joints. So that opens it up. Now I've cut off the tips of the wings because I'm going to redo them. And as you can see, when the wing closes, that forms the top of the taillight section. So that's taken a lot, and I've had to redo this multiple times, as you'll see. And I made some mistakes with cutting all this stuff out again. You'll see what I did. So I'm just trying to share with you all the issues that I've had in trying to make these taillights work. Okay, may have gone overboard on hooking up basically something to hold everything in place. So we'll try taking it off and see if we can get it to stay that way. Okay, to make these taillights work, I needed to remove this section here because the taillights didn't quite fit in there. So we'll get the taillights fitted in there and then come up with some kind of a mounting solution, and then be able to build the rest of the frame around it. Okay, here's another lesson learned. Before you go cutting everything all to pieces, maybe you need to stop and think a little bit about exactly what you're doing. You need to put this back together so that I can actually do a little bit better fitment on the taillights. So sometimes you just get in a hurry and you make wrong decisions. Okay, finally got the taillights mounted and formed to where they need to be in the body. Still lots and lots of work to do on the openings, but it's a good start. Okay, this is what it looks like with the lenses off. Again, I know it's been a long time since I've posted an update. Like I said, there's just so many other life events that are taking priority right now. But hopefully you enjoyed this little video on the taillights. And I think the 3D printed solution is going to work for me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd appreciate it if you would. And hit the notification bell to let you know next time I get it. Maybe months before I do another one, but I will try to keep them coming. And thank you for watching.